Okay, I'm going to entertain a logical fallacy because it might bring some light or help some people figure something out. But then at the root of it, this information is not going to be useful for everything. And the logical fallacy that I'm going to work with is that technology for NFT, when you say technology, all technology already exists. We just discover technology that already exists. But the technology for non-fungible token ecosystems already existed in the BlackBerry. Somebody can find out that everything I'm saying is backwards and stupid. And maybe they're right if they know better. But I think because, like the technology for Bitcoin is a SHA-256 satellite algorithm. It helps satellites communicate without being hacked. As applied to token economics, and to be able to send or transfer wealth to a crowdfund, different crowdfunding projects is how it started. And you could make a deposit on a piece of paper without even going online, crunch it down algorithmically into a transaction number, and then input that transaction number into a bank account, and or a online wallet, not a bank account, an online wallet, and it will make the update, the transaction. It'll change the amount. You're transferring real value, but you're doing it through a method that you have to be very careful, but it was able to be done on paper by the NSA to do black ops, overseas black ops, and to be able to hide the money, to be able to, not saying that those black ops might not be legit because somebody said, okay, go do black ops, here's the fucking, but they had to be able to move the finances around without a paper trail. And why did some Congress people not want to rotate off of the BlackBerry technology onto their, because they all have to be on the same encrypted email server, and they were using BlackBerries. But I think that there was something like a Decepticon microchip, so that where you might have to not erase, since you can erase certain data, but if you didn't want the sensitive information to blow back on you, right, and break up ties, what you do is you store that, you have that data, a middleman, it's like a middleman chip, a Decepticon chip, and it gets the stored data that might be sensitive, and then you can take it apart, dismantle it, and then you get the plausible deniability by the interrupting the origin path, or breaking it up, not interrupting it, by the origin path for that data, that transactions or whatever, breaking it up and putting it on a lot of different computers creates enough plausible deniability to where it can mask the origin path. It can break it up. It can, and then if somebody takes that laptop, it only has a it has a piece of that information, but it's not able to cross-reference with all the other parts of the chip that, when it's put together, is an enigma. So that was like the first exportable key to an operating system. Yeah, and you wouldn't be like having fun on the metaverses and shit. You would just know a guy who can mainframe jerry rig your laptops with, or other like devices, other computers and laptops, with the Decepticon chip from your BlackBerry, and then you can give it to all of your interns and congressional aides, because a lot of times the congressional aide is the one who takes care of a lot of the dirty stuff that the politician doesn't want to be. I don't know anything. I don't know that. I don't know about that. Anything, if you try to blurt it out when they're an oppressor, hey, what about this or something, they would just be like, I don't know about that. And the person who does know about it handled something, it was an event or something, a dinner or some, I don't know, they got something where you could say it was a perk or something, but it doesn't correspond to their congressional BlackBerry. It corresponds to something that is like an enigma that you would have to commandeer from so many different people. You would have to get so many different warrants and so many different things like that. And you'd have to know about the technology, which it's like when it becomes fashionable for you, it becomes taboo for them, right? So now they're coming out encryption with vague overarching legislation, looking at even they're looking at non-fungible token platforms for as a securities, and they want to manipulate, they want to do, at first there was all kind of ploys to try to compromise even Bitcoin. Like George Soros approached Alex Jones at one point in time to ask him if he would like to be a Bitcoin representative, because he was planning on associating Alex Jones and the like fringy people with the technology, and then he was going to stage a pump and dump where he would start a speculative bubble, and then he would just come down and smash the price. He would just come and just dump it into so many people got hurt, and then the price wouldn't go back level, it would go further down. And so like, yeah, this thing could just fucking drop 99%, start a little bit of volume, a little bit of parabola, building up a pattern structure, and people might want to speculate again, and it'll fucking go another 99%. It could just keep defragmenting. So it's like close to zero. So I can just get a lot of it. And then if it goes up to like a quarter of like a tenth of a cent, then I would just be rich. You could be able to do that, or it could just fuck you up again. He was just trying to delegitimize the crowdfunding platform, because it's something that at some point was for them and then became fashionable for everybody else. Now it's a problem. You know what I mean? Like they're talking about this shit is gonna ruin or do something or that, when really it's just helping to deperson the it's meant to delegate the responsibility of bureaucracy to an indelible business model that a business model that is successful, that becomes indelible on blockchain, right? And you can even have gossiping nodes with sharding that can communicate with data queries that are off the chain, and that technology involving some That's not the same thing as oracles. Oracles just they just are. It's like different an API information that broadcasts over an API to populate different fields of a website or of something like where the information is constantly flowing. But the data query, and like there's just all different branches of, like, I could just go for a long time, and it's gonna I would just be like, why are you I'll talk about something as long as I can until it can get to where I'm even confusing. I think sometimes is the weakness, like, because you get to a point and you maybe over intellectualize, or you've already reached a conveyance. Now there's nothing better than you know what I'm saying, to replace a conveyance. You don't know how involving it might be. Like, it could be incredibly, like, it could have a million different little tasks, and each task is like so specific that it would be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? You'd never want to lose a conveyance. So it's like, same thing with when I'm trying to explain something technical. Because you might see something I don't. You might see something I don't, for real. I can never forget that. It don't matter how smart you get. It don't matter how smart you get. If somebody has a deployable model that could be improved by gamification, or deployed strategies using social media or some niche group that they could start. It's just, some people have more zeal to start businesses than others. But like, feels like the AI or something is like talks to people. Like, because it's like the fact, removing the trust factor, because the technologies of smart contracts and everything, and peer-to-peer third-party platforms and stuff like that, is that money is too soft. To make it harder, it can't be built on a system where somebody has to trust another person. So here I'm just selling Bitcoin. You could just watch Antonopoulos or a few other people. There's not really a lot of people who stay on message on more or less shilling a leverage platform, or trying to drive, trying to start a fucking a short squeeze on the parabola or something. Like, I don't know why, but every time their videos are like, and then they'll tell you bad news, and there'll be a face like you got, like, look here, and then you watch the video and they're like, oh, you don't gotta worry this, you don't gotta worry that, you know what I mean? And then they just show you the you can have $100 free of Bitcoin, just go use this leverage platform, and they know that people are gonna not stop when they lose that 100. Liquor, leverage, and ladies is the fastest way to going broke. And that's, but the thing is that there are some women that's worth dying for. You have to admit, that's why it's cool that you just have your own life, you know what I mean? It's you can't, like I don't know, somebody, maybe if you negotiate with them, then you don't have to die. You would just like be able to like go along with the agenda and facilitating something that they ask for help with on their agenda, and for that reason, then I don't know, maybe you'll find out that they're even nasty. Yeah, it goes down. It does. It happens. Just